our first honored guest, and this is Herb Macy. Herb Macy is a physician assistant, and he has been a PA for 2 years? 35 years. So he comes with great experience. He knows his stuff about medical background. I am just so thrilled to have him here because he had an amazing experience with AquaStretch that we're going to tell you about. All right, Herb came to me January, well actually he was evaluated by the physical therapy clinic January 15th of this year. He had his first AquaStretch session down here on the 17th. Herb, would you mind explaining just a little bit the state of affairs you were in before you got here and what your limitations were?
Well, what caused me to present in this clinic was that I had a frozen shoulder. And this was a result of an injury in 2004 in which I sustained brachial plexopathy. And I had severed the supraspinatus, the bicep tendons, and I had been working with traditional physical therapy for about 5 years. And then at that point, I managed to break my neck. And I broke my neck in 11 places, and this was in 2009. So I had 2 significant injuries. The pain was always present and pretty significant. My limitations were that I could not abduct my right shoulder, the right arm at all hardly.
His initial range of motion measurements were, his active range of motion was flexion was 12 degrees, his abduction was 16, and his grip strength was 16 pounds.
So I had tried to do some things and overuse my shoulder, and I had an acute injury on top of these chronic things, which created a tremendous amount of pain. I went back to the traditional physical therapy, and I was not able to do it. And I couldn't do the pulleys, I couldn't do a lot of the things that were required. So I really ended up with electrical stem, muscle stem, TENS, ice, heat, some massage, and I even started with some aqua therapy that was the traditional instructor on the side and the patient or client in the water, and I found that very difficult to do. So I'd heard about Jessica's program through people in the community and through the Health Foundation when she's working with fibromyalgia patients, and I thought, well, this would be a great opportunity to try something different because nothing else is working, basically.
And did it meet those expectations? What was it like your first session?
Well, first of all, it was an experience that was totally unfamiliar to me in terms of physical therapy. The thing that I found most fascinating was that I was no longer like a static patient, but I was passive and moving in the water, and it was a pain-free kind of environment. And like everybody else here, I love the water, so it was a natural fit for me. But I discovered that right away I was starting to have relief from the muscle tension and the pain, the pressure, and rapidly increasing my range of motion at the same time.
Something I wanted to just touch base on with him is when he first came to me, because he had the injury and he wasn't able to move his arm for, how long was it that you were in that state of 12 degrees and 16? Was that a year and a half, 3 years?
Oh, years.
Years, yeah, 3 years. 3 years he was unable to move his arm. Because he had been not working that arm for 3 years, I was a little nervous to try AquaStretch. Remember what I told you, it significantly restores mobility. Okay, passively he was okay. Actively he just didn't have the transmit of the signal. So my thought was, I was going to spend some time, and he had just told me that he was opening a pickle jar on his first day in, and he dislocated his shoulder. So I was not about ready to go stretch his shoulder, because that to me would make it more loose. So what I emphasized on is everything else. I started, and which is why AquaStretch is so awesome, because it does focus on everything. It emphasizes that our body is a tensigrity structure. Basically everything is connected and interwoven underneath the skin. Okay, so think of a spider web, and when you pull on one side of that spider web, the whole thing shifts, right? That's exactly what happens in our bodies when we develop these fascial adhesions, and we start developing them deep, either because we've injured ourselves and we decided to move too fast or too soon, or we don't move enough, then they can start to heavily calcify. And then we can also, our body is so smart that it moves around those adhesion areas, and then we start operating out of our normal mechanical alignment. Do you understand what I'm saying here? So you start compensating on one side, and maybe your knee injury is on the right side, but that left side is really taking a lot of pressure for you. So the nice thing about AquaStretch is that it helps to alleviate all those secondary compensation patterns at the same time you're treating the injured area, which overall gives the patient a systemic overall much better feeling after they're through, and an overall sense of relaxation and an increased ability to sleep, which then produces the better environment for your body to heal, because we need to sleep to heal, right? All right. So, after, I just wanted to just touch base on his progress. After 3 sessions, his pre-range of motion was 70 degrees of flexion and 62 degrees of abduction, okay? That was amazing. And then after 4 sessions, he had 58 degrees of an improvement and 46 degrees of improvement. So just a little bit over a month so we started in January 17th was his first session here. On February 18th, he was able to raise his arm to comb his hair. And like I said, I did not expect these range of motion improvements with him, because he had this neurological effect that I thought that was probably a little bit too far gone for me to do. So I didn't take range of motion measurements like I was taught I should do every single time. So when he came in and said, "Hey Jessica, by the way, I feel pretty good, I can comb my hair," I kind of literally stopped everything what I was doing. And I turned and said, "What?" And he raises his arm over his head and he just shows me that he could do this. It was weak per se, but he could do it, and that was amazing. So,
well, I've long believed in the concepts of neuroplasticity, but I just hadn't found a modality that made that happen for me. So I kept moving, and I kept using all the techniques that I had been taught. And at the same time being evaluated by neurosurgeons, neurologists, physical medicine, rehabilitation people, having all the imaging and all the standardized things to evaluate where I was at. Nothing really offered me the kind of success that I was able to achieve.
Super fantastic. So from here, we're going to go ahead and give you the demonstration of AquaStretch so that you can see for your firsthand what it is. And then we are going to, after that, we're going to have some of you guys participate, which I'm super excited. If you've never had it before, I think you're going to be in for a pleasant surprise. But also while I'm stretching, I'm going to give a little bit more background about what AquaStretch is and the theory and applications behind it. So again, thank you very much for participating, and we're going to get into it. Ooh.